Your physical security system is a computer network. Are you leaving the back door wide open for cybersecurity? In this episode, in the Security Insights, I'm going to give you the four most important things to make your security company cyber secure. Welcome to the Security Insights with Arvind Dhillon, your bi weekly deep dive into the latest insights, strategies, and innovations in the security industry. I'm your host, Arvind Dhillon. In today's episode, we're going to talk all about cybersecurity. I've spoken before about how I see cybersecurity and physical security merging into one package, but today we're going to discuss it on a basic level so everybody is clear on that idea. So, whether you're a security business owner or someone with a keen eye interested to learn about all about security, this episode is for you. Let's go!
Hi everyone, this is Suche. I'll dive right in with the data of today. 73% of small businesses have experienced a cybersecurity incident. Okay, Arvind, as a security industry owner, when did you start putting weight on cybersecurity?
I think in the last 5 or 6 years after COVID, uh, the scams or uh, the incidents have started to increase. So that's when we started to put some measurements into place, but we didn't take it really that seriously. It was a few people in the office that one of the girls opened up the phishing email, and then that kind of gave us um
Like the
the
warning?
warning, you can say, per se. That's when we try to take it a little bit serious. But as the time goes on, now after 6 years, I think there's a lot more steps that we should be taking.
Yes, absolutely. So it's good thing that you started with that story, one of the team members in the office working. So it's not just on an IT guy that you're hiring, it's the whole company. You need to build a whole culture as a CEO or company owner or the management team in that scenario, right? When you started to build your cybersecurity culture into your company, what were the first steps you took?
Uh, One of the basic step was if you don't you don't know the person of where the email's coming from, don't open it. Ask your manager or ask your colleague, see if it looks okay. And then as the time goes on, the emails got better. Sometimes they will have my name written on the bottom, or it will look like my signature, right? So it was getting harder and harder for people to see, to be careful, because all these scams, they just want to get one person in the company. And now we have kind of created this culture. Don't be shy when you see something's um not in your regular norm, then feel free to ask. Sometimes it's overkill as well, but I rather have a overkill than underkill.
Well, that totally makes sense. So you start encouraging the other admin workers, office workers to question every step, every email to start with, right?
just uh, just to have it in your back of your mind that not every email that you see is going to be the legitimate email.
That's true. Did you make any kind of meetings to create this awareness in your company?
Not necessarily the meetings, but whenever we do have these Friday chats within the corporation, so that's when we usually discuss these options. But it's the more I've been reading up on it, it's all about uh, just talking about it, and then it gets into people's mind. So within your company, it doesn't matter if it's a small company or a big company, you should always just talk about it. Like for example, yesterday um, my assistant sent an email to the lawyer, and she did actually even CC me on that email, but the lawyers never had this kind of a request, so they reached out directly to me and asked whether that's a legitimate. So now that tells me that their company has also discuss these options.
Yeah, they're confirming a few with other different like confirmed emails, other things
Yes,
if there's a new
because
one. Yeah.
before they would just send out an email that, okay, this is what you ask for. We'll just send out this data to you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's true. So, at what point did you begin hiring IT professionals to cover your cybersecurity and educate yourself on cybersecurity risk of security company needs?
One of the local companies here in Vancouver, they had a big scam go on in their software where they actually had to shut down their retail stores for many days, and they lost millions and millions of dollars. So that's when
That's
that was
harsh.
the wake up call for us, saying, we are especially in the security business, so we better make sure that our back end is all secured. Um, yes, so I think shortly after that, within 3 4 months, we hired a professional that takes care of all the data, because it's not only our data, it's also our customers data. We
True.
have so much private data come into our hands that we just can't afford to take a chance on that.
That's a higher risk when it comes to security companies, specifically in this industry, rather than, I mean, any other businesses are at the risk, but when you say security, you are more like at stake on that.
That's right.
Okay, I want to go back to the culture part a little bit because later on we'll get into more technical details on the cybersecurity for security businesses. So you said that you need to build a cybersecurity culture for your security business, but as with all things that starts with you as the CEO, what actions security industry owners can take to cultivate a cybersecurity culture?
Um, First, the owners have to be very vigilant. They have to um, speak about it, and not so much the research, but they have to be know what's happening in the news. A lot of the times we don't. We hear the news, but we don't think it's going to affect us. It's just affecting our competitor or our other companies, right?
It's not
It's
going to
not
happen
gonna.
to me.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's not gonna happen to me. And then that's what I learned, and I learned it the hard way. Um, you have to keep your ears and eyes open, because if you're the one that's not focusing on anything, nobody in your company is gonna take it seriously,
Yeah, if the
right?
owner doesn't care, the rest doesn't care.
Exactly.
Well, that is one thing to stay updated and also question not just, okay, that's interesting news, but it's also, can it be me? Maybe next is me. It might happen to myself, my company. And that's one thing. But there are some small steps also they can take, right, within their organizations, like some privacy setups, more like email securities, multi factor verifications. There's so many different small things within the like office assistants or other people that have access to the emails and phones can take.
So there's a lot of settings, like you can do, like our IT person Charles. He set up a lot of email settings in the background that I personally would have never known about it. Right? Yes, when he tells me that this is what we should do, that we have to discuss it one on one, that's when I'm thinking, oh well, all these years we never actually paid attention to that because we were not aware of that, right? Two-factor authentication, yes, that comes in really handy, but uh, now there's so many people involved, right? So it's very critical that all the information is kept in one place, especially all the passwords are um, regularly maintained. If you don't have anybody working in your company, make sure their emails are turned off, or their access to your server is turned off. So there's a checklist that, our checklist is getting bigger and bigger. It's like a onboarding or offboarding checklist, right? We never used to have those checklists, but it's only in the last couple of years I say we are getting serious into this.
We did not announce that later in this episode, Charles, Core Security's IT specialist, I would say, will be attending here, discussing with Arvind directly in more details of the aspect of cybersecurity. As the companies grow, the checklists grow, but also it's not just the company grow. I would say even like less than 10 people, employees, companies should be putting attention to those to losing any risk of
E-
data.
Everyone should, but it's one, they don't have the knowledge of it. Second is it's the culture. So first thing is first, before you talk about getting all this knowledge, because nobody has the time, they should at least have the culture within their business that everybody talks about these scams, um, whether that's a phishing scam or phone call scams, or just the regular WhatsApp scams that are coming out nowadays.
Yeah.
uh, People within the administration or within your team, you should be regularly discussing, because if I'm not talking to you or talking to Tim, then I don't know, maybe there's some scams out there that I'm not even aware of, that, right? As promised in the intro, we are going to give you a list of 4 things that are must have for any business. Number one is a strong password. You must have letters and numbers and symbols in your password. Second is it requires a multi-factor authentication. That means that when you try to log into any email or software, you need to put your password in, and second, you get a code from your cell phone uh, that you have to enter into the email. Third thing is teach your employees how to be aware of all the phishing scams and talk about it regularly. Fourth thing is to update your software, business software, whatever the software you're using, make sure that's up to date. So these are the 4 things that are must have for any business, whether you're a small business or a large business. This is the basics that every employee should follow and every business should follow. As you heard me say it many times, that the business owner can't wear all the hats at all the times. I thought I would bring in our IT specialist, Charles Weiss, onto the podcast so we can get the direct insights from his experience and his knowledge.
Okay, thank you, Arvind, to have me here. My name is Charles. I'm a cybersecurity network IT specialist. Glad to be here.
Charles, let's take a look at cybersecurity from the security business point of view. What do you think security companies should be looking at, or any small business, just to prepare themselves?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the things that they should look into is how to warn their employees about all the cybersecurity threats that is out in the market. One big thing that we see often is phishing emails. How do you educate your team to be aware about phishing emails?
Yeah. We discussed this in our main intro part today, that a few years ago we received an email that one of our admin person opened up the email by mistake, and she thought the email's coming from one of our people inside, right? So
Mhm.
that was a big eye opener. Hence, we created the culture within a company where we just discuss these things is part of our normal day-to-day conversation. It's not just something we don't discuss, because there might be emails that you've seen personally that I never came across, right? So
Mhm.
that's very important.
Yeah, and I think not only educate the people, but you need to leverage up your technology, be prepared to, in certain way, block and treat that malicious emails, filter those malicious emails. When you receive an fish email, things like uh, rev over the mouse the link, see if that is a real link or if it's a fake one. Sometimes you receive Microsoft.com, but Microsoft and TT double T. So it's kind of close name, but it has a little discrepancy or little, how can I put this in words? A little bit. It looks similar. It's
It
very
looks
similar.
similar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks similar, but it's
Yeah.
a fake email.
That's why
Not
we
a
discussed that if it becomes a part of your culture that you're discussing these options,
yeah,
then it's in people's mind.
and also those attackers they are looking for easy bite. people that are not educated, if someone asks, hey, can you pay that bill? They don't double check. They just go and pay the bill.
No.
So that's part of awareness. Double check the source of the information. If you see something kind of odd that is not part of your day to day, maybe you want to confirm first before acting.
So treat every email that it might be the phishing scam.
Yeah, trust but verify.
Verify. That's right.
Always verify.
Very well said. What would you say is the easy target?
Like companies that, for example, let's say 2 years ago there was a breach, a database breach, and they collect a bunch of emails and passwords. They scan the internet with those emails and passwords to see if they can penetrate or log in into the application. And if you keep using reusing the same password, that might become an easy target. So reuse the same password is kind of thing that people should be avoiding nowadays.
So are you saying reusing the password on
Yeah.
the same email, like change it every couple of months?
So not if change it a couple of months, but for every single application that you have, you might use a complex email, complex password, one different from the other. You don't reuse the same password from different applications, because in case one of that get breached, this email or this password can be used later on for attack. They're gonna scan the internet. They're gonna find a portal that where is a login and password. They're gonna try it with that same username and
So you're
password.
suggesting for every application that you need to log into, have a different password.
Have a different password.
Mm.
Definitely, you should use a different
Interesting.
password, because you never know who is going to be the next target that is going to breach the information. Which company is going to suffer a data leak?
How about changing the password? Does that help, like every couple of months, or
that was a misculture? I would say that people was used to change password every couple of months. But the problem with that is we are human beings. We are not a robot. We don't memorize the passwords. We do know certain number of passwords, but when they ask you to change, you're going to probably just change the last digit or some character inside of that password. And that might compromise later on. So this is not a strong password, actually. Strong password might be mix a phrase with special characters and letters, numbers, those kind of things. So this might become a strong password.
Okay. So Charles, according to a survey by the Cloud Security Alliance, undertaken last year, they're saying only 23% of companies said they have full visibility into their cloud environments. So, what kind of information should security companies, in special, avoid putting it on the cloud? And also, what are the steps the owners should be taking it to protect all this data and secure it away?
Yeah, sure. I'll start with your last question. Cloud by itself, it's secure. If you think about Google, Microsoft, AWS, all those platforms are very secure. The problem is more how you configure that and what kind of information you throw into. When it comes to information, I would suggest not put any sensitive data. Let's imagine if you start putting your client information or bank account information or credit card information just to store in the cloud. If that got compromised one day, you might suffer. You might be hurt hard with the data leak.
Okay, so now let's talk about network attacks. Now, there are a large number of potential attacks that can attack any company, especially the security companies. What we should do to prepare for those?
Yeah, good question. When it comes to network attack, you might think access control, you might think your firewall and those things to protect your environment. I always say there's good solutions out in the market. It's how you use those solutions in your favor that is going to make the difference. So if you're putting firewall in your company, make sure and revisit frequently whatever you configure. So don't just put there and think everything is going to be protected. I think it's more like a governance, how you treat those products.
Another question comes to my mind is like when we give access to our clients to view their cameras online,
Mm-hmm.
and we're opening up a port. Now, should that be a concern to some people?
If that is facing to the internet, and again, if there is not a strong password or if it's somehow is not authenticated, I think this needs to be revisited and reconfigure. That definitely could be a concern for the customer.
Because I've been thinking just like when we take over from another company, our technicians just go in. They always talk about that. Oh, I found an open port, and then I was able to log into it.
Yeah, that's a good thing that our technicians, they know, they have that awareness. They are always not just doing their job, they are looking more in details, preparing the network to have this face into the internet, and they always have that concern to not put a weak passwords. So
Well, thanks to you've been training them over the time, and
yeah, thank you.
hopefully it's helping us.
Yeah, we have to educate not only our technicians, our internal team, but as well our customers. So it's all about the culture. And we don't have to think cybersecurity as a risk, but we have to think cybersecurity as a tool to protect us.
So, Charles, what are the other attacks that security companies should be aware of?
Yeah, I think ransomware is one big thing that is happening. When the ransomware occurs, what they are looking for, they want to encrypt your sensitive data. They want to disrupt your business. So once you suffer a network attack, they're going to do a lateral movement inside of your networking looking for sensitive data, like what's your logins, what's your passwords that you have, what kind of platform you have to manage your business. So once they move inside of your network, they're going to look for your sensitive data, and they're going to encrypt that, and they're going to ask you for ransom. So if I have to say one thing you should be prepared, it's back up your information and store safety your sensitive data, because don't think that it will never happen with you. That might happen, and you're gonna be compromised with this situation. So when it comes to sensitive information, keep it safe and the backup, and have a kind of governance plan for disaster and recovery. So if that happens, what should I do to recover that? How should I bring my business back? Ransomware is one kind of attack that you see often on the network.
Thank you for coming on the show, Charles. I appreciate it. We understand how busy you are, but thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you for having me here, and
We look forward to doing more episodes with you.
thank you.
That's a wrap for today's episode, Security Insights with Arvind Dhillon. I hope you found some value in this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends or your small business owners. It can help them greatly. If you want to connect with me directly on LinkedIn or on Instagram, it's Arvind Dhillon. Until next time, stay secure, keep your business growing, and we'll see you in the next episode.